as Debbie said, my name is Matt Smolsky. Today was just going to be a very informal discussion. I like keeping it informal, and if y'all don't mind, I'm just going to sit here and chat with y'all, because if not, I'll be walking around the entire room. Podium there, I don't think you could keep me there in that corner, so I'd be out and about, so that's okay. We'll just have a chat. I think this is more conducive to an open dialogue to talk about things and everything. Again, thank you all for having me, giving me this opportunity just to chat about a few things that are going on in the Fire Marshal's office through the county. Glad Mr. Hugh is here. We work very closely with his shop. I consider him one of my bosses along with the fire chief, so we work very closely with the building development agencies out of the county and land development and building. So we have a real good partnership there. Matt Smolsky, been with the county. I'm in my 42nd year. I've seen the county change from a very rural type county back in 1977. I'm regressing here a little bit. But I've kind of also grown up with the county. I was in middle school when I started with the county, so those 42 years have gone by very quickly. That's just a joke. Started when I was 21. But the fire department, obviously, during that time period has progressed tremendously. We're currently, we're almost at 700 strong currently. We have an additional 500 some odd volunteers. So our total force is about 1,200 firefighting personnel, rescue personnel that are out there. Some news within the department you might not be aware of. Our chief of, I believe, 12 years, Chief McGee, just recently stepped down from his position. Tim Keene is the acting system chief right now. Chief McGee has led us through quite a bit of this change. Kind of sad to see him go. Things change and we move on, so we're looking forward to a brand new beginning with the new combination system. Not the new, we've had a combination system, but with the combination system that we have, we'll continue to enhance that going forward, providing fire and rescue protection. Just a little more about me, my background. The fire department started out as a firefighter, moved up through the ranks. I'm currently assistant chief is my rank. My title is I'm the fire official or the fire marshal. All my staff identify as fire marshals. They're assistant fire marshals, but me here, the fire marshal, that's me. So you'll see my name on permits and things like that, official documents, if you're getting waivers and things like that, and getting things signed off on. You'll see my signature. I often don't sign those documents, somebody else does, but my name's on stuff, because that's why they pay me the big dollars to do that. But coming up, as I stated, I've seen a lot of change in the county. It's just tremendous. Coming here today, I hadn't been by the airport. I've been hearing about the projects, the data centers out by the airport and everything. It's just run by the airport to the chamber. So it's amazing to see the county now, what's going on and how the changes have taken place. It's a great place. I don't live here. I grew up in Leesburg. I live in Leesburg. So basically because I grew up there, that's why I'm still there. But Prince William County, I know it's a great place to live. And I know it's a great place to work. I can testify to that, working for the county government. I couldn't imagine working anywhere else. You'll hear firemen say, we have the best job in the world and we thoroughly enjoy it, but also your employer is a big contributor to that, how well that goes down the road. So I personally have enjoyed it very much, or I wouldn't have been here as long as I have. I've had other opportunities to leave, but when I come down and make that decision, why leave the best thing going? So that's why I stayed here. Just want to start off first with a couple things. Sorry we don't have the slides today. It's a great video from a fire the other night. I want to show you all. We'll get into a discussion a little more later about the incipient stages of fire, building construction, things like that. I was going to ask some things from the building community and things like that. But sorry we don't have that video. Maybe at a later date I can get it out to you all, or maybe send it to you via email or something like that. So y'all just follow along. I'm on single slides per page. You guys look like you have 3, so we'll just go down the line. Just title today's conversation, helping our community. We're very much community-based, community-focused all the time in the office. That's the mantra that we follow on a daily basis. And again, part of that is direction that we receive from the County Board of Supervisors, County Executive, all down through Mr. Hughes' shop of being open for business. We're very business-oriented. We try to be as much as we can. We are sometimes the bad guys because we're the code officials and we do hold people accountable. I'm sorry. But we do have to do that, but I like, as I talk to business owners, and we're doing it for your benefit, to make sure everything's right for your business. You're getting quality work from your contractors. They're doing the work they submitted the plans for that have been approved. So we're actually, you're set life, we're actually working for you. A lot of business owners don't always look at it that way, especially when they're trying to open and there's an issue, but that's my line with them, to try to explain to them, which is trying to help you out. And we'll talk a little more about the process here in a little bit. But FMO year in review, we had a very exciting year. This past year, we had several new initiatives that we've taken on. First off, our plan review process. Now, I know some of this y'all might not be familiar with, so I'm not going to go into detail. A lot of this I'm just going to skim over if you have questions. And again, I'm sorry, if you have any questions at all, don't wait till the end, till the slide comes up. Any questions, fire them at me. We're just having a conversation. Go ahead, fire. First thing we've done this year, I was very happy that we were able to do this. We had a walkthrough plan process down at the DSB building, number 5 County Complex Court, where you could bring your certain plans in and have them, during the walkthrough, have them approved, hopefully approved, if they met all the criteria and everything. Well, we've added a second day to full-time commitment to allow more comprehensive review of more enhanced type of, and we do, again, I'm jumping ahead, we do fire protection systems and alarm system plans review. The building department does building, electrical, plumbing, and all that. So when I'm speaking of plans, I'm speaking of fire alarm plans, fire alarm systems, fire protection plans. Your sprinkler plans, your hood systems for your cooking operations and things like that. So when I say plans review, that's the type of plans I'm talking about. I'm not speaking of building. I don't speak for Eric Mays' shop and building department or anything like that. So that's what I'm speaking of. But we added that second full day, and we expanded on that second day. We expanded the appointments from half an hour to an hour, which allows more time to do a more comprehensive review, larger type systems and things like that. Again, that's all to benefit the customer, so they can get in, get their plans done, get the contractor, get the job, get back out, and get the work done. We see a lot of small jobs coming like that, especially for small business owners. We see a lot of, even on fairly larger jobs, revisions that need to be done. When something's changed out in the field from the original plans, then they come back in, we're able to do those and accommodate that much quicker. So we're very, very happy to do that. And that's actually, it helps us too. Anything we can save time for the customer, it saves time for us, believe it or not. But it does. We're a strong advocate of get it done right first time, communication with the customer. What does the customer need to do? We're constantly trying to reinforce that. We revised the Design and Construction Standards Manual. Section 300 deals with primarily our items. That was revised. We made some specific changes, but a big part of that was just basically make it more friendly, user friendly. Decrease plans review times for new plans and resubmittals. We advertise 30-day turnaround on plans review. That's what we advertise. But we averaged about 2018, averaged 12 to 15 days. And we've had many periods where that was down to 2 or 3 days that we were able to turn plans around. Resubmittals, plans that get rejected the first time for whatever reason, we try to get those, our goal is to get those back in 5 days, if we can, if at all possible. And a lot of that's based on how much communication is going on between the plans reviewers and the applicant of the permit. So something to keep in mind. I often, just 3 weeks ago, I tend to tell stories too, so just 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call from a building owner. He says, Matt, I need some help here. I'm being told by my sprinkler contractor, you guys are doing 8 weeks for plans review. And I said, Mike, where'd you hear that from? Well, the contractor told me that. I said, Mike, we don't do, is this a new plan or a resubmittal? Is it a resubmittal? I said, Mike, what's the job? Has your contractor been talking to anybody in the office? He goes, well, I don't know. I said, okay, first off, you need to find out what's going on, or have him call me, or call one of the guys in the office specifically to deal with that. But I said, we're on it right now. I just got my data this morning. We're on a 10-day turnaround for new plans. This was a resubmittal or revision. I said, we could probably have that out of here. If you call and make an appointment, come in, we could probably do it same day. But again, contractor, had other motives, or for whatever reason wanted to delay doing that work. That's what him and I surmised. And I don't get into those conversations between the building owners and their contractors, but I tell them what's going on from our perspective, what's going on. We're very transparent, and again, we try to get those plans out just as fast as we can. Obviously, some of your larger jobs are going to take a much more in-depth review, are going to take a little more time. But during 2018, we averaged between 12 and 15 days, which I think is very good. But we're going to tell you 30. We're going to tell you 30. What's that old saying? It's better to overperform or something, than promise one thing than overperform.
Yeah.
Then say, I'm going to have those plans to you in 12 days, and then on the 13th day, I'm getting a phone call.
Yeah.
Well, they're going out today. It's day 13. I'm sorry, it's day 13. But 30 is our advertised day, but that's what we're averaging. We constantly work with the folks, our review people. They're very conscientious, they're very good to do that, to make that happen. Enhance customer service through accessibility. We constantly reinforce the idea of communicating with building owners, permit applicants, whether it's a sprinkler contractor, or business owner, whoever's applying for the permit or has this job, even if it's a job down the line, not applying for permits right now, just want to talk. Just had a conversation with staff the other day. I said, I'm tired of seeing these emails on this project. Why aren't y'all scheduling a meeting with these folks face to face? This email stuff, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. Get them in here and talk, or go to the job site and talk. One or the other. We constantly reinforce that, because in today's world, y'all know email. It's like social media. It's easier just to go back and forth. Half the time, face to face, you can communicate much better than you can just going back and forth on email, citing a code section. Well, I interpret this code section as this. Well, I interpret it as this. It doesn't work. Get in the same room, talk about it, get the plans out, spread them out, talk about it, say, here's my interpretation. I'm the plans reviewer. This is my interpretation. This is the appropriate section. And most of the times, we're not always right, but I think most of the time we're pretty good guys that do that, or do a good job. They say, oh, now I know what you're talking about. Okay, that's after 3 months of emails. So again, we encourage that. We encourage that accessibility. We have 2 days with the walkthroughs, but we also encourage meetings, sitting up and calling ahead. I'm planning on opening up this business. Now, I'm talking about my end. I know we have the project managers for people starting from scratch, and I don't want to jump in the wage shop, but we kind of do the same thing. If somebody knows they're going to have specific fire issues, where it's a sprinkler system, high storage, going to require a special sprinkler system or something like that, we encourage them, get in early, very early, and let's talk. And most of the time on the very large jobs, we do that, a coordinated effort with the building department. We bring in all the trades, and we sit around, and Mr. Business owner, Mr. Business developer will say, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing, and then everybody jumps in and says, okay, you might want to be careful of this is what we're going to need, that kind of thing there. But again, communication is the key. Communication is the key. Something else we just started recently doing, we're doing site plan reviews. Land development was doing that with the consultation with us. I just thought it better working again with the folks over land development who also fall under Mr. Hughes' jurisdiction there. I thought it'd be good for us just go ahead and do it, because we were running consultation back. Well, why don't we just do it? We got the capacity to do it. Let's do it. So we worked out a process between the two agencies. So, and it's going to basically be kind of seamless. It should be almost seamless for the customer. But the idea is not to have any issues down the road. once construction's underway or you're trying to occupy the building or something like that. So I thought that was a good initiative too that we initiated. And again, we're open for business. I just said it yesterday's staff meeting. We say it all the time. Myself, Tom Jarman, great guy, my deputy, who basically runs the shop. I'm just a figurehead. Tom runs the shop. Tom is spot on with his analysis of things, and he knows exactly where I'm coming from, and he believes the same as I do. So we're both spot on. So that helps having the leadership in the office and going down that road. But again, open for business. That's the constant theme that we have. Any questions? I know I'm talking fast too. I talk fast. I know. If I was walking around, I'd be talking even faster. Okay. Just talk, before we move to the next slide, talk about what code we're under and everything. I'm not going to get real technical because I'm not the expert in the code either. I get involved in interpretations and things like that, when I need to get involved in. But we're currently operating under the 2015 Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Code. Yes, that's right, 2015. The Virginia code cycle is very strange. How long it takes the state to adopt the code. But that's the code we're under. And we just went through that last year. We have been operating under 2012, so we did upgrade to 2015. And from a fire prevention code standpoint, there really wasn't that much difference between the 12 and the 15. It wasn't that much at all. But they're already starting to work on the 18, so hopefully by 2020, the 18, and from 2020 to 18 will be in effect. It has to go through a process. Virginia's a Virginia. It's a unique, it's a Commonwealth. It's a Commonwealth, so it has its little quirks. But at the end of the day, we have a good code that works. So, I just want to talk about a few things. Title of the presentation here is helping our community. I'd like to zero in on a couple things that we see on a regular basis and point out to y'all. Again, any questions, jump in. Please jump in. First of all, I'd like to address something directed to the management companies, landlords, property managers, and realtors, and things like that. Smoke detectors save lives. Smoke detectors are required in residential properties in Prince William County. If you have a rental property, okay, we have a smoke detector ordinance. You are required to ensure that home or apartment or own unit is equipped with working smoke detectors. You are required to test that on an annual basis to make sure it works. You are required to communicate to your leasee their requirements, that they cannot damage it, remove it, take the battery out. So those are all things that you need to keep aware of. We're starting a campaign. I think we've initially done soft kickoff. We haven't really hit it hard yet because other things have come up. Where we're going to hit the apartment complexes and go out and make sure they're all in order, because that's the most mass number we can get with one shot. Some of the larger apartment complexes, we can go out and they might have 300, 400, 500, 600 units. So we get in there and make sure they're working. And usually, when we got to do inspection, usually we walk in the door, we can tell within 10 minutes if they have their act together. It's not like we're not going to go inspect every smoke detector in every unit. We're not going to do that. We're going to check your records, see how you've been inspecting them, and go from there. So again, I can't smoke detectors. We had a fire the other day. People were alerted by a working smoke detector, a $20 smoke detector. That is the one thing. I'm a big advocate for sprinklers, but smoke detectors are the one thing that should be in every home, every apartment. They definitely save lives and give time for people to get out of the structure in time. Our goal is to get the people out, get the occupants out. Early detection also does what? Reduces property loss. Because the earlier you detect the fire, the earlier the 911 call, and the sooner we get there. So please keep that in mind if you're in any of those businesses or even in your own private homes. Go home tonight, check your smoke detectors. Check your smoke detectors. I just hit mine the other day. I loved it. My kids were all asleep, my 3 teenagers. Test! Dad testing, Dad testing. I know, I heard from upstairs, but I know it's just you. I said, how did you know that? You didn't know I was home. Dad, we know it's you. I said, okay, son, okay.
Can I ask,
Sure.
Is it better to get the smoke detectors with the carbon monoxide stuff and all that attached to it for safety reasons, or does it matter?
I can't advocate one brand over another. Main thing, if it's UL approved, combination detector that's UL approved for that use. But yeah, I did mention the carbon monoxide detectors. Obviously, I would advocate that also. But the smoke detectors are the number one thing that we're concerned with. Okay, smoke, right? Everybody smoke detectors? Everybody give me a nod. Smoke detectors, annual testing. Please, 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 please. That's the biggest thing we do to save lives. Corporate management, business owners and property managers. We're talking about office parks, office buildings, retail stores, just about everything that's not residential, okay? Just about everything. Two key things I want to talk about today. Occupied buildings, exit access. Okay. We've been fairly successful the last 2 or 3 Thanksgiving and Christmas periods of getting most of the businesses attuned that they need to keep their exits open for a reason. But again, in the event of an emergency, you don't want your exits blocked. You don't want your rear exits blocked. You want clear access, and you want to get the people out. I wish I had the video today to show you all how fast, this is the video I was going to show you how fast a fire can progress. It's just amazing. Most people, thank goodness, will never encounter a fire in their lives and have to deal with this either at their home or their business or anywhere else. And that's a good thing. But if you do experience one, to actually see how fast a fire can develop, how fast it can travel, and that's just the fire. The smoke being generated, smoke's what kills you. Smoke is what will blind you, will make you start coughing, choking, and impede your exit from the building. So it's vital that your exit access, and that includes the rear exit through the stock room or back through the offices or back through the kitchens and things like that. Especially important if you have a cooking operation. Because if you have a cooking operation in business, where's the most likely place you're going to have a fire? In the kitchen. In the kitchen. Okay? It's vital that you keep those exits clear. We just ask for everybody's cooperation doing that. That's the number one thing when we're going out, we're doing spot checks on businesses and things like that. That's the number one thing that we're looking for is exit access. Make sure all your exits are clear all the time and maintained. Fire alarm and fire protection systems. We do a fantastic job of reviewing plans, doing the code requirements to ensure proper installation of fire protection alarm systems and fire protection suppression systems are installed and make sure they're working. And in 99.9% of the cases, you can't occupy a new structure until those systems are up and running. Mr. Mays, the building official, who is the ultimate say when a person occupies a building, him and I are both, we work together all the time. We just met the other day at our monthly meeting. And I can tell you one thing, he's very conscientious of first thing he'll come to us and we'll know what's the status of the alarm system if somebody's questioning their ability to open up a business and things like that. So those systems, we do a great job of doing that until you open. Okay, once you open, and this is how I'm explaining to my staff, this is something else we're going to be working this year and next year, a more aggressive system, I don't like using the term enforcement program, but I guess it is enforcement, to make sure systems have been properly inspected, tested, and are working properly. But we're going to be working on that here in the next year or two ahead, developing a formal program on that. But you have an alarm system in your building. You have a fire suppression system, sprinklers in this building. It is up to you as the business owner as the building owner, we'll decide if it comes down if we have to charge somebody because your system's out of service for lack of maintenance. We'll figure that out. Is because I know different leases, I know all that stuff. We deal with that all the time. Well, it's not my lease, it's not responsible as the building owner. It's all that. But we'll find out who is responsible. But you're responsible. Even you're not responsible. It's in your lease for the sprinkler system to ensure that system is working. You still have an obligation to your employees, to yourself, to the public, to maintain a safe environment. So it's really up to you to make sure, because you're there every day, you're there running the business out of that office space or whatever. You're there every day. But I wonder how many people working in an office building have asked their landlord, is our sprinkler system, when was the last time that was inspected? to ensure that's working properly. When was the last time our fire alarm was inspected and tested, make sure that's working properly? And I'm sure, again, per your lease, I'm sure it's the owner's obligation in a lot of cases to do that. So you're paying for that. So why not demand it? But, and we work with businesses all the time. The system goes down. And this is what, when I talk to staff, so we put all this effort, tremendous amount of effort and time into before a business opens. And then when the business opens, you have a failure, for whatever reason, the system's not working. I'm talking sprinkler system. Same for alarm systems. We could come in and say, okay, vacate the building. We can do that. We have authority to do that. And that's the rare exception when we do that. We initiate what's called a fire watch. We have a fire watch program. But that fire watch program is not, we're not going to put a fireman in there before your office building. That's up to the tenant. We have guidelines for that, how that's done and everything. In most cases, we'll allow you to stay open for the period until the system can get repaired, and we expect that to be quickly, not 3 months. And that's one way, again, as part of our open for business. We feel if a person's doing fire watch properly, the way it's outlined, I feel comfortable, because ultimately that's my decision. I feel comfortable if they're following the procedures, that fire watch is okay, will suffice in the short-term interim until the system gets back up. And most people will have, it's just a matter of picking up the phone, calling the sprinkler company, get them out here. Usually they're there within 24 hours. Everything, they come off fire watch and everything's good. But some people will play us because they don't, what the sprinkler company tells them, how much it's going to cost to get their system back in compliance. Then they'll, but we can't go weeks, months. It depends on what type of occupancy it is, but we can't go that long, because again, these are systems that are required for you to occupy the building to start with. So we can't just turn away because you're in it, but we do work very closely with business to try to keep that business going and not be disrupted. So something to keep in mind on that. So again, key there, what's my key there? Keep exits clear and keep your system tested. And I don't own any stock in any system, sprinkler company or anything like that for testing purposes and things like that. But it needs to be done, and you should have that paperwork on site, have it available at all times. Okay, going to the next slide. Helping our community again. Developers and builders. And a lot of this, I'm talking the actual building, either the building process or the building materials and things like that. I want to talk about access and construction materials. Under the fire code, building sites, you are required to maintain access to that building site while your building is under construction. And that is access for fire apparatus. We can't just come up to where all the permits are posted. Y'all have seen where all the permits are posted. There's a street number posted there. You pull in there and there's 6 feet of gravel and then it's dirt. what's going to happen, it has to be a surface that's sustained fire apparatus. That's key during the construction phase. And also in the planning process, developer and buildings, access is the key. Again, I wish I had that video. The video shows this access issue too. Even in the planning aspect of building placement and things like that, it's very important. And we do have certain access requirements that are in the DCSM, but it's very, very important when you're planning a building site or whatever to provide us as much access as you can. Because when there is a major incident there's nothing better to have that quick access in, out, whatever we need to do to get our job. Now's not the time to be worried about an extra 100 feet of stretch of asphalt or something like that, because it does come back. It's an investment in your building. Again, this video would have showed the access, but again, so access during construction and then access in the planning phase of any building, any complex or something like that. There are guidelines, but keep that in mind. There's a reason why we need that access. And again, it's for what? It's for the safety of the people who work in that building, who visit that building. It's for our safety too. It's for firefighter safety also. Construction materials. Work in preparation for this. We've been keeping stats the last 4 years. We keep all kinds of stats. We love stats. On exterior fires that start exterior of a structure and burn into the structure versus starting inside, like a kitchen fire. Our number one fire in the county are kitchen fires. Okay, I will say that. Number one, they're kitchen fires in residential properties. But since 2015, we've had 103 fires where the fire started exterior of the building and spread into the building, and this covers all type of occupancies, apartments, houses, malls, businesses, office building like this type building, all type of use groups. We've had 103 fires that have started on the outside of the building. And why I say that is, that's 103 fires. It's over $16 million in damage from 103 fires. And what we also found, a fire that starts on the outside of the building will be 4 times the amount of damage than a fire that starts on the inside. Because why? On the inside, a lot of places you have your suppression systems, you have your alarm systems, most of the time you have early detection. All those factors come into reducing that damage. 4 times the amount of damage on a fire starts on the exterior. I said, okay, Matt, what's that got to do with builders and developers? Okay, the building materials that are being used on exterior buildings. I know things are built to code. I understand. I'm not saying nobody's not building to code or anything like that. But using combustible or non-fire retardant, whatever term you want to use, materials, and quite frankly, I'll say vinyl siding. Okay, vinyl siding, and I can show, I approve. I'm very frank when I talk about it. Industry might argue that, well, vinyl siding doesn't burn. I've heard that argument. It melts away awful quick, leaving the elements exposed and drop down again. We had drop down this video. You can see the drop down in this video. It's a class. This video is a classic. This is. We really push, and we have had some trade-offs. Builders that come in and say, hey, what can I do to get this building in? And they're offering trade-offs and things like that. And we do work with the folks, when you get in the bind, they might not have the access problem. We had that one apartment complex way, I forget, down on Route 1. We had one building, I think we couldn't get access because it accessed on Route 1. And we sat and talked, and Eric was involved in that one too. And I said, what about some non-combustible material next to that building? Really? Y'all would consider that? I said, yeah. The number of fires we have, exterior fires, for one building access issue, yeah, I'll take that as a trade. But I really would like the building industry. We're working on the other side from the code end, but that takes years to do anything like this. But just to stop and think about, is there another material that you can use to help curtail the spread of fire? And our biggest culprit is the apartment buildings with the vinyl siding, 3-4-story apartment buildings. That's where we see the most fire damage. The fire I'm referencing, that there's 3 slides here. Mine are a little bigger, y'all's are kind of small, I know, but this is a fire Friday night, just the other night, Friday night, down Dumfries, off Route 1, Virginia Commons Apartments. This is a 3-story apartment building, wood frame construction, vinyl siding. First picture on your left, this was filmed by a family. They were leaving one of the restaurants down there on Route 1, and they were on their way home. They looked over, saw a fire, they pulled in and had the video, and you could hear, I'll tell you as I go through the slides what was being said. But you see in that first slide there on the left, 3rd floor balcony, fire starting. This is an incipient stage of the fire. We very rarely get videos and pictures like this. This was just fantastic. Because I don't have a still picture of what this building looked like at the time we got the fire out, but it doesn't look like anything like this. So it's very important from our investigative standpoint to get pictures like this. And with the everybody having a cell phone now, it is becoming a great help. Because people film everything. It's just fantastic. But you see there, this is a garden apartment, 3rd floor, exterior building, fires on the outside of the building. In that area, we have a electrical outlet, a ashtray, and next to a potted plant, or in a potted plant. But the occupant said he hadn't smoked up there for a while. So those were only two possible causes for that fire that we could detect. But that clearly shows where that fire began. And the next slide in the middle, and what you see, what you can't see in this video, this is like a 3-second video. You'll see, if we have the video, you see sections of the vinyl siding falling down. You actually see it falling down. Well, actually, if you look, y'all are looking at a much smaller picture than I am.
Yep.
I can see it on mine's a little bigger. I can actually see one piece that had already fallen out. It's burning down below there. It looks like down below, right below the window there on the left side of the window, down below. The next slide, same family filling. The gentleman, a very heroic act. He went in, I think his gentleman, his wife, and at least one son, because I could hear the one son on the video. Where did Jim go? It's obviously the wife. He had left them. He had gone over and he had climbed over. It's not wrought iron, but it's that type fence. It's plastic or whatever. But he'd gone over the fence and cut his arm open. He had required stitches. He'd gone and he went in and was knocking on doors to get people out. And you could hear his wife saying, "Where?" I don't know. His name's not Jim. I'll just use Jim. Where's Jim? Where's Jim? And you hear his son. He went inside. Well, I mean, you could hear the concern in her voice. And then, so in this video here, this is a little longer video, about 10 seconds, this middle one, you actually see our ladder truck pull up. And when I talk about the access, because this is the rear of the building. So we have rear access and we have front access, which is ideal. Ideal, I mean, you can't get much better than that. So, because we get our big equipment in there and do what we need to do. But from her cell phone, we had multiple calls on this, but We didn't record her name at Communication Center, so she obviously probably called after several other calls. Usually once they start getting 3 or 4 calls, they just say, okay, yes, this is Virginia Common Project, okay, we have it. They don't take names or anything like that. But we got off her cell phone, we knew what time she called. She called, it was 4 minutes prior to the arrival, and this video shows the ladder truck pulling up right here. So we know she called a minute before dispatch. Well, I say a minute because we have it broken down. It's actually seconds, but rounding off to the excuse me. So she called basically a minute before it was dispatched, along with several other callers. The truck was there in 4 minutes. This is truck 23 right down the road, Red Oaks Fire Station. You see them pulling up, and we know what time they mark on the scene because they hit the little button on the scene. And you can see the progression of the fire. You can see it spread up in the attic. It's spreading along. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It's spreading along the attic there. And you see to the left, again, I don't know, you can see on your little picture, but you can see the little glow to the far left there, up above, like a little higher. That's where it's already up in the attic and burning up in the attic. So that attic's lost at that point, and we're just pulling up on the scene.
Chief, you mentioned that there are exterior fires, and I was curious with the growth of electric vehicles and the supercharger environments, are there setbacks and codes set in place for placement of those types of units?
For charging stations?
Yeah, for retail, or is there a code for setback, or does that pose any further risk?
I haven't seen any on the far side. I don't know if there's any on the building side dealing with that. I think that's probably because Virginia code, we're a few years behind, code cycles behind. That's probably hasn't even caught up in the code cycle yet, because that is brand new technology. But I will say that I don't recall us having any specific issues with anything like that thus far. We'll see what age brings to the systems and things like that.
The other question I have is, so I think you were talking about like when you put them in your garage for your car and all that stuff.
Yes.
The other question is the safety of the firemen when they're doing buildings or residences with the solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
I know if we've adopted something, or because that's been a problem in some other places. I know fire chiefs that have just let the building go down because they go up top, they're not sure if the solar panels are off.
If it's hot or not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, we are doing a lot of extensive research on that right now. There's a proposed, is that big solar farm, Wade? You probably know. Out in Oakville, is that still on
Oh, yeah.
Because we had concerns with that, with access, being able to isolate certain panels and things like that. But there's a big solar farm coming in Oakville.
Yep.
If it comes through. But that's absolutely right, because you don't know if that's backfeeding electricity, because a lot of those systems are set up, again, to go out on the grid.
Yeah.
So you don't know if the power is coming back from the grid.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be powered a certain way. I know the fire chief in New Jersey I was talking to, he just let the building go because he wasn't going to put his people on top of that industrial building with the solar panels because they weren't sure what was going on. So he didn't really have a choice. I know.
Very careful. We do have guidelines just to be careful
Sure.
around it.
Okay.
And you mentioned also that you were raised in Leesburg, and you still live there. Clearly, Loudoun County's experienced a lot of growth, fast-track growth over the years that you've lived through. So what are you seeing is happening with us in Prince William County as we're facing this tremendous surge of growth? And do you have ideas about what we might avoid, what pitfalls we might avoid as we're facing it from your perspective?
I think a lot of the pitfalls are kind of what we're talking about today. It's the little things. It's the little things. I think from a global perspective, I think there's from the county level, from groups like this, I think there's adequate planning, anticipation for development, for growth, and things like that. But it's important to maintain what we have. And it's kind of what a lot of things I'm hinting to today is maintaining them. Everything's fine when they're new, but we have to maintain them going forward. I think that's the key, because that's what you see anywhere. You see, the big cities. Oh, big cities, man, they have all the fires. And, this is fireman talk. Well, they have all the fires because they haven't taken care of the infrastructure when they built it.
Right.
But I think we're more attuned to that issue. I think we're going to be more aggressive and hopefully have I know from my perspective, from what my shop does, have the adequate people to do it. Make sure, but again, it's a team effort. It's helping our community. It's our community. We can only do so much. We can't see it all. We can't do it all. It's really, and it's, again, part of that is us doing things like this, getting out, communicating with the folks, and a lot of people just don't know. Well, I didn't know that you inspect those once a year.
Yeah, hopefully it'll spider out
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Do you feel you're getting the resources you need for the growth we're facing?
Oh, I never have enough resources.
Loaded question.
No, always like to see a few more, but we do, I think, a great job with what we have, and I think we're getting a lot of the basics done. I know it's easy when something happens to focus. Throw 6 people on that. The board gave Matt 6 more people. A lot of it is just being thorough again and doing a good job the first time. We try to instill that with our folks, and I think that's what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Do you
Sure.
pay special attention to places where a lot of people congregate, whether it's a church or
Yes.
maybe the nightclubs like the Palace or the Electric Palm, stuff like that? You spend a little extra focus, make sure those are
Well,
fine?
I give you an example of that right now. We're going through a process now. We're looking at all the inspections we do in the county because we have a very active station program where the folks out in the stations go out and do a lot of the inspections, or we call them safety surveys because they're not really inspections because they're not certified inspectors, but safety surveys. I'm bringing a lot of those back into our shop where we're going to start doing them, and one of the areas we're concentrating on are those with the potential for the greatest loss, and that would be human loss would be number one. Financial loss would be second, property loss.